It's Sunday morning. We're hungover. It's time to make some nachos. For the first episode of our Hangover Helper series, we are making a mountain of al pastor nachos with homemade Pico de Gallo and queso. In order to cook these nachos safely and prevent muscle cramps further down the line, I highly recommend getting yourself a lot of coffee and a large Cool Blue Gatorade. The star of any pile of nachos is the meat, so we are going with a cheater al pastor recipe that captures that zesty porky flavor in a fraction of the time. You can't have nachos without cheese, so for our cheeses we have pepper jack, Monterey Jack, sharp yellow cheddar, as well as a yellow and a white mild cheddar, around 3 pounds total. Grate all that cheese on a box grater, taking sips of Gatorade as needed to prevent forearm cramps. Put all the cheese into a bowl, toss to combine, and set aside until later. You can choose any cheese blend you want here as long as they are cheeses that get nice and melty. For the homemade Pico de Gallo, you're going to need 2 limes, 2 jalapenos, 2 tomatoes, and a large white onion. First, finely dice your white onion and tomatoes. Next, finely dice your jalapenos, leaving the veins and seeds in if you want it hot, or removing them for a milder version. Make sure to wash your hands thoroughly after handling any spicy peppers. To finely shred cilantro or any leafy herb, it's easiest to roll it up into a tight ball and then mow through it with your knife. Then add the zest and juice of 2 limes, season to taste generously with salt and pepper, and place in the fridge until later. This stuff will blow any store-bought Pico de Gallo out of the water, and considering all the ingredients are dirt cheap and all you need is a knife, I pray you never buy the store-bought stuff again. To capture that al pastor flavor, we need some pineapple. To chop a pineapple, the best way is to cut off the head, then the butt, then sand it up and make vertical cuts around the outside to remove the rest of the skin. Cut it in half vertically, then cut those halves in half again, removing any additional brown skin. Then lay it down and remove the core with a confident diagonal cut. Dice it into appropriate nacho-sized pieces, making sure to feed the cameraman. This is everything you'll need to make your cheater al pastor. To start, chop up a red onion, dice 3 deveined and de-seeded jalapenos, as well as 3 poblano peppers. Add these to a bowl, then finely mince around 8 cloves of garlic. To finely mince garlic, I like to lightly smash it, peel the skin off, then Hulk smash it, gather it into a pile, and mow through it with your knife. Set it aside in a small bowl with 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. Now to get cooking, we are going to get our stainless steel or cast iron skillet ripping hot. Add your chorizo removed from its casing as well as the ground beef. It is essential at this stage to get another forearm workout and break your meat up into tiny little bits. Make sure to cook the meat until the water boils off and it starts frying in its own fat. Once your meat is deeply browned, add in your diced veggies along with a big pinch of salt. Stir that for a few minutes to sweat, scraping the fond off of the bottom of the pan as water is released from the veggies. Then add a cup of your diced pineapple along with 2 minced chipotle peppers and adobo sauce. Next, add a spice blend. This is 2 tablespoons of cumin, 1 packet of Sazon Goya seasoning with Achiote and cilantro, 1 tablespoon of paprika, a tablespoon of oregano, a half teaspoon of cinnamon, and a teaspoon of cayenne. Allow those spices to toast for 1 minute. Make a well in the center of the pan and add the garlic and tomato paste. Fry that off for 2 minutes, then add the juice of 1 orange and 1 lime. We'll also be adding a cornstarch slurry, which is 1 teaspoon of cornstarch mixed with a little bit of water. The cornstarch will thicken the sauce and make sure it clings to the meat instead of spilling all over the nachos. Reduce until a thick sauce is formed like so. Season to taste with salt and pepper and set that aside for later. For the cheese sauce, we are going to start by making a roux. Add 2 tablespoons of butter to your cooking vessel. Once melted, add 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, whisking constantly to prevent lumps. Toast the flour for around 2 minutes or until the raw flour smell goes away, then add 1.5 cups of cold milk, again whisking constantly. Then break up your Velveeta brick into pieces and allow it to melt into the sauce. Velveeta is a processed cheese that is chock full of stabilizers that are going to give you that silky smooth, velvety Velveeta queso that we all crave. Add 1 drained can of Rotel tomatoes with green chilies, then add a tablespoon of garlic powder, a tablespoon of oregano, a tablespoon of cumin, and a small shake of cayenne. Mix all that around to incorporate, then season to taste with pepper. Cut the heat and add a handful of that cheese blend from earlier. allowing the residual heat to melt it into the sauce. It is at this moment exactly that you should turn your oven on to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And bada boom, you have a gooey queso that's good enough to eat on its own or serve with chips at any party. Ladies and gentlemen, now is the moment we have all been waiting for. It is time to build our nachos. Lay down a nice, get out of here! A nice, even layer of chips, making sure we have stability for our nacho mountain. Ladle on some of that cheese sauce and your meat. We have some vegetarians with us today, so leave the meat off a quarter of your nachos, but sprinkle some drained canned pinto beans atop the entire layer. Then add an even but thin layer of your cheese blend, add your second layer of chips, repeating the same process of cheese sauce, meat and beans, and shredded cheese. Then, for the final layer, add chips, the rest of your cheese sauce, shredded cheese, the rest of your meat mixture, and the rest of your beans. Pop that beautiful baby into the oven for around half an hour or until everything is nice and melted. This is the most difficult part of the recipe, is waiting this 30 minutes for, oh my god, look at that beautiful mountain. I mean, just look at it. Sorry about that. Turn your broiler on high, then top your mountain with more diced pineapple and a ton of pickled jalapenos. Pop it under the broiler, keeping a close eye on it and moving it around to evenly brown the top, around 5 minutes. Now top with Pico de Gallo we made earlier, some diced avocado, and fresh cilantro. Then Jackson Pollock your nachos with some Mexican crema. If you can't find crema, sour cream watered down with some lime juice will work perfectly fine. Drizzle with the Mexican hot sauce of your choice and you are done. Behold the glory that is your big nacho. Now is the time to do what is best with the big mountain of nachos, share it with friends, and cure that hangover. These nachos are oh so cheesy, and the pickled jalapeno and pineapple come together for a sweet, sour, and spicy punch. I mean, just look at that. Look at that beauty. Look at that big, enormous mountain of nachos that we brought into the bedroom for the better lighting. And that's it. The full recipe and ingredient list are in the description down below. And remember to like, comment, subscribe, and we will see you next time.
Jesus Christ.
Adam.
Oh, pineapple is so good with it. What the Oh my god.
The pineapple and an avocado on it.
Oh, the pineapple is everything.
The pineapple is nuts. What?
Yeah.